Welcome everybody to the 5th edition of Game Grabs. I am your host, obviously once again, Jay Reed, aka the Virtual Wizard, and I'm feeling like I'm in a Sega mood today. So I want to talk a little bit about the recent pickups I picked up for the Sega Genesis, and let's get right into them. Obviously, you know me, Sega Genesis is my favorite console of all time, and me getting mine the first time in 1991, these games meant a lot to me. So starting off, I want to go into a game that my cousin put me onto when I was probably like 5 years old. Me and my brother used to play this game with him. This game is called Forgotten Worlds. Now this is a tough game. It is a two-player game. You can be a red character and a blue character, and the controls are kind of weird because you have to like spin around at the same time and shoot each other. It's kind of like a shmup. It's two guys floating in the air, and you go through constant levels of just shooting and killing enemies, and it's just like weird enemies that look like screws and things of that nature. So I'll never forget this game. This game is amazing. I picked this game up for $4, and I actually made this custom case myself, so I'm actually pretty proud of that. So can't go wrong with that. All right, next game. Obviously, I picked this game up. This is probably the first game that I've ever played that had violence in it. I picked this game up for $2 at my local retro gaming store, and it is obviously original. Everybody knows this game. It is Mortal Kombat for the Sega Genesis. Obviously, ABACABB was the blood code. I remember my grandmother used to get upset with me and my brother when we did it, but this was the first game that I've ever played that was very violent. So I'm glad to own this into my collection. And as you can see, the Mortal Kombat shirt behind the Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet. Can't go wrong with that. Okay, so next game is my favorite game of all time for the Sega Genesis. I picked this up actually for free. My friend donated it to me because he knew that I love this game and I was a collector, and he had it at his crib, and we actually traded for it. His name is Paul. Shout out to Paul. Appreciate that. And it is Streets of Rage 2 for the Sega Genesis. My favorite game of all time for the Genesis. I had hours and hours and hours. Beat this game probably hundreds of times, honestly. I remember I got chickenpox in 1992, and I remember getting happy because I didn't want to, get any of the kids chickenpox. So I remember my mother let me stay home, and I remember playing this game, eating soup, and just playing this game hours and hours. So I love this game. I used to always use Skate. My brother would use Axel, and we would just tear through enemies. So I love this game. I'm not even going to throw it because it's really sentimental value to me. So proud to own this one. And obviously, I picked this one up right after recently because, it's the first one of the Streets of Rage. It's actually Streets of Rage. Obviously, I picked this one up on eBay. I actually won it on a bid for probably $15. It's let's see. It's not complete, unfortunately, but the box is nice. I love the detail on the box, and it's 2 players. It's not as good as 2, but it's still an amazing game. I remember getting this from Funkoland back in the day, in the early 90s, and I wasn't really feeling it. But I've beat it before, and I've grown to like it over the years, so glad to own this too. Alright, next game. This game is amazing. Everybody knows this game. It is the sequel to one of the biggest hits in probably the original games that came out for the Sega Master System, or not Sega Master System, but the Sega Genesis, or whatever. And it is Golden Axe 2. Golden Axe 2 came out, I believe, in 1991, and it is the sequel to, obviously, Golden Axe. It is a 2-player beat 'em up game, medieval, whatever you want to call it. You can actually pick 3 characters. I have beat this for the Sega Genesis, and I beat it for the Pandora's Key. And you can't go wrong with that. If you can't think of a title to play, you got to go with Golden Axe 2. Amazing game. Alright, so this game is actually a quick little funny story that I mentioned on my podcast, the Virtual Fortress podcast. Make sure you check that out. This game I got at KB Toys back in the day, in the early 90s, and I remember telling my grandmother to write a check for this game because I didn't know how checks work. And this game was Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. $15. That's how much my grandmother spent on this game. I'll never forget. I don't know why it was so cheap, but maybe it was on sale. But I won this on eBay for $4. And it's actually complete. So I'm glad to own this into my collection. Paid $4 for this. Golden Axe, I paid $5 for that. Can you believe that? Can't believe that. All right, so next game. Oh, like I said, back in '91, first game I ever played for Sega Genesis. When I got my Sega Genesis for Christmas morning in 1991, and my brother and I woke up, went to the living room. They had a whole bag of toys, and this game was playing on the TV that we got from our parents and my grandmother, my mom. Sonic the Hedgehog. Can't believe it, and I'll never forget the not for resale little spot on it. This game's amazing. When you see Sonic, come on. I mean, what else are you gonna say? This game's amazing, and obviously, the next year, following year, which is my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog game, is Sonic 2. This game is cool. Obviously, I could never be Sonic. I always had to be Tails. Obviously, I gotta help my brother out. But you can never go wrong with these classic games. I love them to death, and I'll never turn my back on this series, Sonic the Hedgehog. And the movie was pretty good too. All right, next game. The next game, this is probably my favorite out of the trilogy. A lot of people might not like this game. Actually, a lot of people do like this game. It is Shinobi 3. This is my favorite one because I love how you can like ride the horse, and the colors are beautiful, and the Revenge of Shinobi's cool. I own that as well, but this is my favorite one. I got this for $10 complete, so I'm glad to own this into my collection. And Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, I actually got those each for $4 on eBay, so thank you, eBay. All right, next game. Another game. I had so many memories with this game. I remember just playing it every day for the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. And whenever I hear the music to this, it brings me back to when I was like 7, 8 years old, and that is Aladdin for the Sega Genesis. It's the first one I played, Aladdin. Yeah, I got this for $10 at a thrift store. Can't go wrong with that. I remember playing as Aladdin with a sword, hit the bad guys, throwing the apples at them, swinging from post to post. You never go wrong with that game. Like, I love Aladdin. And yeah, I beat it. I beat it a couple times, but I think I might have to get back into it and just beat it one more time for the genie. All right, so the last game I want to talk about for the Sega collection is a game that's I spoke to somebody on Reddit actually about this game and how this game is really underrated and nobody really appreciates this game and gives this game credit. And this game is actually Alien Storm. Alien Storm is a cool game. You walk around with these like laser beams shooting these aliens, and the cool thing about it is like certain levels you get into. It's a platformer game, platform shooter, but then it turns into a first-person shooter, and you get to be in a laboratory and shooting games like that. So I'll never forget playing this game. This game is very underrated. Let's see, this game came out in 1991. Alien Storm. Yo, I gotta give this game some props, yo. This game is sick, and I love the artwork on the game too. Alien Storm, great game. All right, and so what I also want to talk about is something that I recently picked up. Now I paid $80 for this, and I don't care because I am a Sega Genesis fan. And for Alien Storm, obviously, I paid $10 for that. It was worth it. But for this, I actually did pick up the Sega Genesis Classic, and this is a classic system. I'm glad I own it. It comes with 40 of the classic games that are most expensive. So they got like, let's see, they got Castlevania Bloodline. They got Contra Hard Corps. They got, let's see what they got. What else they got? Alicia Dragoon. Love that game. They got Strider. They got Wonder Boy, which I own also. But yeah, this game is cool. Like, and the graphics are a little bit better. They're more crisper. Yeah, and I'm just glad to own this in my collection. I can bring this on the go. I don't have to bring my whole Sega Genesis collection anywhere. But I can bring this on the go and play it at a friend's house or bring it to work. So I'm glad I own this. Sega for life. Sega's my favorite console of all time. So you can't go wrong with Sega. I get emotional because when the console wars were going on, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, my brother and I, we were always Sega Genesis fans. We love Super Nintendo, but Sega Genesis was where it's at because we felt that Sega was always more raw. And Sega Genesis did what Nintendo don't or didn't. But shout out to Nintendo though. I love you still. But thank you all for joining me on this great, quick little adventure down Sega memory lane. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below. Make sure you let me know on any more type of videos you would like me to make. I'm like stuttering over here. But yes, please hit me up. Let me know what it is. Until then, keep gaming on. And check out the Virtual Fortress podcast.